Hello, students. In the Tempest Act 4, Scene 1, we had stopped at a point where the mask had abruptly ended because of Prospero. And Prospero, in a very philosophical tone, talks to Ferdinand about how everything around us, including human beings, are all mortal and the impermanence of life. That was the theme of his speech. In the previous video, I did tell you about how this speech is related to Shakespeare's farewell speech to his audience. Okay, so at that point of time where Ferdinand was asked by Prospero to go and rest in his cell, and then Prospero is going to look at the third conspiracy in the play, is going to answer his conspirators, Caliban, Stephano, and Trinculo. Okay, so this is a point where Ferdinand and Miranda have retired to the cell to rest, whereas Prospero is commanding Ariel to come to where he was. Okay, so Ariel he says, "Come with a thought. As soon as I think of you, you should be here. That immediately, be here as soon as I think of you." And to Ferdinand and Miranda, he says, "I thank thee." So both of them exit the scene, and they'll be going towards the cell, whereas Ariel is summoned here on the island. "Ariel, come," and Ariel enters. "Thy thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure? Cleave, follow. I will follow each and every thought of yours. I'll be that close to you. What is your pleasure? What is it that I can do to please you?" Prospero says, "Spirit, we must prepare to meet Caliban." So the time has come where we should prepare to meet Caliban and his partners. Ariel, "Aye, my commander, yes, my commander. When I presented Ceres, I thought to have told thee of it, but I feared lest might anger thee." So he's saying that when I was playing the part of Ceres, presented meaning playing the part of. So we remember that these goddesses were played by spirits, and Ariel was playing the role of Ceres. So he says, when I was playing the role of Ceres, I thought at that time that I should remind you. But then I was scared that maybe you will get angry at that time, lest otherwise I might anger thee, I might make you angry at it by reminding you of it. So I did not say it at that time. Prospero says, "Say again, where didst thou leave these varlets?" Varlets, rascals. So he's referring to Caliban, Stephano, and Trinculo, because the last time we saw them in the play was the time when they were drinking, and Ariel had played mischief with them, and Ariel had sort of charmed them. Okay, so Prospero is asking them, "Where did you leave those rascals?" To which Ariel says, "I told you, sir, they were red hot drinking." Red hot drinking. Their complexions were flushed. They were looking red because of drinking. They drank so much. Red hot, flushed with redness, with drinking. So full of valor, bravery and courage. Now we need to remember that this bravery and courage that we are talking of is not them being very brave and courageous. We are talking of pot valor. Pot valor is a term which simply means that when people are under the influence of alcohol, or they drink too much, they think that they've become courageous. They start behaving brave and courageous under the influence of alcohol and drinks. So here he's talking about pot valor. So full of pot valor because of drinking so much, they consider themselves, they behave to be very brave and courageous. That they smot the air, they are striking the air with their swords. They feel they're so courageous and brave because of all the drinking and alcohol and the wine, that they are sort of fighting, they are striking the air for breathing in their faces. And why are they striking the air? Because of the wind that is hitting their faces. Beat the ground for kissing of their feet. They are trying to strike the ground, beat the ground, because the ground is touching their feet. So all the foolery that they are making, they are creating here, is A, to entertain the audience, and B, to tell us how they were behaving under, how much they are drunk. Okay. For kissing of their feet, yet always bending towards their project. Okay, they're bending towards their project. Here, bending refers to aiming towards their project. There are two references here towards their project. One meaning that They are bending to hit the ground, to beat the ground, because they thought the ground was touching their feet. Okay, so they were bending down to beat the ground. Okay, and second, bending towards their project, meaning trying to pursue their aim, their goal. Remember, Caliban had instigated Stefano to kill Prospero. So that was their project. That was what they were bending to. They were trying to stick to their plan. Then I beat my tabor. Tabor is a small drum. So he's talking about the previous time when he had seen them when they were conspiring and they were still drinking. So at that time, if you remember, Ariel had played music in order to play mischief. So he says, then I beat my tabor. I started playing my drum, at which like unbacked colts, unbacked, fresh, not never ridden, colts, male horses that are young. Okay, so when I started beating my tabor, these three men started behaving like unbacked colts. Colts, as I said, male horses, young male horses, unbacked, never ridden. Nobody is ever ridden on them. They picked their ears. They were picking their ears, advanced their eyelids, so creating all sort of funny faces. Okay, and creating foolery on stage, lifted up their noses as they smelt music. They, instead of hearing the music and following it, as they thought they were smelling music. So again, they are under the influence of wine. Okay, so I charmed their ears. Okay, so they could listen to me. That calf like they, my lowing followed through. So like a calf, the baby of a cow. So like a calf, they started following my music. So Ariel was leading them with their music. Okay, and they were following him, the Ariel's music. My lowing followed through. Lowing here refers to the music, the low music that he was playing. These three men started following it. Okay, through toothed briars. Toothed briars. Briars refers to shrub. Tooth meaning spiky. Okay, tooth briars. Sharp furzes, again shrubs and bushes, sharp ones. Pricking gorse. Gorse refers to gorse, which is a prickly shrub. Shrub that is that can pierce. It's prickly. And thorns. So they were walking through all of this just because Ariel was leading them with his music. Okay, which entered their frail shins. Shins is the area of leg below the knees. So the thorns and the prickly gorse, all of that piercing their frail shins, frail, delicate shins. At last, I left them. So I was making them walk through all of the patch of thorns and prickly gorse through my music. And then finally, when we reached a filthy metalled pool, filthy, covered with scum, covered with it stinks, it's covered with it's filled, filthy, mantled, covered, filthy, filled, dirt, scum. Pool beyond your cell, near your cell, there is a filthy mantled pool. I left them there in the pool, there dancing up to the chins. The scum and the filth was reaching up to their chins and they were dancing there. That the foul lake overstunk their feet. And they did not even realize that the lake, the pond, lake refers to the pond over here, pond was full of stinking scum. Over stinking, exaggeration here, excessive stink was, they were full of that stink and they did not realize it because they were drunk. Okay, so this is the condition in which Ariel had led them with his music and brought them to a filthy mantled pool and left them there. Okay, so that's where they will be able to find them again. So Prospero says, he says, this was well done, my bird. Very happy with Ariel's actions. This was well done, my bird. Thy shape invisible, retain thou still. Still be invisible, don't be visible to them, still remain in that invisible state. The trumpery in my house, trumpery over here refers to cheap, shiny clothing. Trumpery in my house. So there is trumpery that's lying, clothes, very shiny, glistening clothes, okay, in Prospero's house. Go bring it hither. Go bring them year. For stale to catch these thieves. Stale means like bait, as if it's bait to catch these thieves. So trumpery, cheap, showy finery, meaning clothes, okay, glistering apparels of the stage direction. Now this is some sort of stage direction. So Ariel is asked to go to Prospero's house and bring back clothes that are shiny, very showy, in order to attract these men, okay, for stale, as if like a bait. Ariel, I go, and exit Ariel. Prospero, a devil, a born devil. Now he's talking about Caliban here. He calls him a devil, a born devil, because remember, he was the son of a witch, Sycorax. So born devil, on whose nurture can never stick. Caliban is a born devil because he's a son of a witch. So by nature, he's a devil, and no kind of upbringing or nurturing can change him. Now, nurturing refers to upbringing, the way a child is brought up. Okay, Caliban, from the time that he was a child, had met Prospero and Miranda, who taught them language, who tried to civilize them. But Prospero here shows his disappointment. He says that his nature is evil nature, and no good upbringing can change it. Prospero here is talking about a very important theme, which is nature versus nurture. So it is a psychological, it's one of the ongoing psychological debates which say that if a person's nature is bad, is born bad, no amount of nurturing, no good nurturing will ever be able to change that. Now that's a debate, because a lot of times, in a lot of cases, nurturing has changed bad natured people as well. But here in Caliban's case, Prospero thoroughly believes that his evil nature cannot be changed with good nurturing. Whose nature, evil nature, nurture can never stick. Nurture, upbringing, however good upbringing is given to him, it will never change him. Okay, on whom my pains humanly taken, I took humanly pains on this devil. He was the son of Sycorax, a witch. There were pains, I took humanly pains, love, affection, and care to change him, but all failed, all lost, quite lost. Prospero is thoroughly disheartened and disappointed in Caliban. All his pain, humanly care, and upbringing is lost here, has failed. And as with age his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. With age, his body is becoming ugly. We know that he was a deformed monster. Okay, so with age, his body was growing ugly, but along with that, his mind was also becoming malignant. His mind was also becoming ugly. With as he was growing, he was only getting more and more evil. Now this is Prospero's side of the story, but for Caliban, because he has a strong grudge on Prospero, that grudge and hatred is always day by day increasing for Prospero. Now, Caliban, if we see, he has his own reasons to hate Prospero, because he thinks he was cheated of this island. He thinks that Prospero treated him badly, and that's why that grudge and hatred. And Prospero, of course, hates Caliban because he played mischief with Miranda. Yes, he disrespected Miranda's honor. So they both have their own reasons, and that is the reason Prospero says day by day his mind is growing uglier. I will plague them all, punish them, curse them, plague them with disease. I will curse them with disease. I will plague them all, even to roaring. I will curse them with a disease and pain that will leave them roaring in pain, yelling and screaming in pain. Okay, so this is what Prospero has decided for the conspirators. Enter Ariel, loaded with glistering apparels, etc. So he's come back with all the trumpery, all the glistening, shining clothes. Okay, and Prospero tells him, come, hang them on this line. There was a clothesline that was outside his house. He says, come, hang these clothes on them. Prospero and Ariel remain invisible. So now we are going to stop here where they are invisible. They have hung the shiny clothes on the line as a bait for the conspirators, who will see these shiny clothes and come towards it, and then we will see what happens to them. Okay, so remember the important theme here: nature versus nurture, Prospero's disheartenment and disappointment at Ariel. And this is a stage where Prospero is going to punish his conspirators. Once he has already punished his conspirators by bringing them to the island, that's Antonio, Sebastian, and Alonso, and also the banquet scene where he's reprimanding them. This is another part of the this is another conspiracy that Prospero is about to foil, and he's going to punish Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo. So we will stop here, and in the next video we will see what happens next to these conspirators as planned by Prospero.